Coming up on FRC Recap, the end of the bomb is here. What it means for teams moving forward, we'll discuss that. First place with food, and might have a couple safety violations. Mixer shutting down. We'll talk tips for inclusion on your teams. We'll provide our community spotlights and take from fun trivia, where our current jackpot is $80. You can join our Discord for that. All this and more coming up on FRC Recap.
Giving you a voice.
Making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
First Updates Now FRC is produced in partnership with the Blue Alliance. Keep up to date on all live and archived First Robotics events and team stats at thebluealliance.com. And also, viewers like you. We need your help to keep fun loud, live, and independent. Help us by visiting our Patreon to pledge your support at patreon.com/First Updates Now. You can also support fun live on Twitch for a few bucks a month, or by linking your Prime account for free and clicking subscribe. Welcome to FRC Recap, where you get the breakdown and discussion going on this week in FRC. For First Updates Now, I'm Tyler Olds.
And I'm PJ Lawalski. Our guest tonight is one of the founders and the president of the Rainbow STEM Alliance, a longtime head referee in both FTC and FRC, and a good friend of mine, John Kentfield.
Hi.
Thanks for being on, John. Appreciate it, man. Lots of stuff to go through today, so let's roll right into our headlines. Well, if you haven't heard the big update on Friday, first came in with a bombshell. We'll bring up the screen in just a second, but a whole bunch of updates to the robot construction rules, including that the bill of materials or BOM has been eliminated. In the blog, Frank writes that, quote, "While we had good intentions for the BOM, the rules were probably the most complex we had in the manual, and a source of frequent frustration." So this changes for the 2021 season, and that also, please note that the $500 individual component limit will still be in place. In addition, the blog had a clarification stating that any robot that was legal for competition use in 2020 will still be legal for 2021, so that you could just show up with your robot as is if you want to. It'll be interesting to see if there's a change in that as well, because we know there's going to be some changes to the game. They said that's not going to happen until a little bit later, but it'll be quite interesting. Real quick, we don't want to take too much time on this with headlines, but I'd love to get just quick reactions. PJ, reaction from you on the BOM being over, at least for 2021.
Seems good. I don't know. I was out of First for a while before starting to mentor this year, so I feel like in the 3 years or so I wasn't mentoring, the BOM became a bigger and bigger problem and more of a dinosaur in some ways. But after reading more and seeing just the games you had to play, it seems like it's a good thing on the surface. But like I said, not something I've had a lot of direct experience with.
John, quick gut reaction from this?
I'm excited for it. The BOM rules have been just kind of growing and getting more and more complicated, and teams have found more and more creative ways of skirting them. So I think overall it'll be a good thing for the community. So.
No, and since somebody in chat asked, we do have the Crab Rig song on air, or it's right here. I know our guests can't hear it, but we'll play a little bit of Crab Rig in the background for your party music going on here. So as we move into our next headline.
All right, our second headline for today. The FTC game is going to be getting a teaser that's going to drop this Thursday at noon Eastern on YouTube. It will be interesting to see what FTC is going to be doing this year. In a teaser, I doubt they're going to cover COVID precautions, preparations, and stuff like that. But I know teams are waiting to see how their seasons are going to be affected. I know we started a rookie FTC team last year, and with the competition season being from October to December, like that's coming up soon, and we still don't really know where COVID and stuff like that is going to be at that point. So I doubt that's going to come up in the teaser, but I think it's something that definitely has to be addressed soon with FTC season right around the corner. With whatever the teaser brings to the table. Here on Fun, we'll be having a teaser breakdown on our FTC live show that same Thursday, June 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And so then, if we want to move on to our next headline.
Oh, that's on you, John.
Sorry. So the next headline is about the Inspire NC Challenge video and Valor Challenge. If you're looking to keep your I swear I can talk. If you're looking to keep your skills sharp this summer, there are two CAD challenges approaching. The first is the Inspire NC CAD Challenge, which will have both FRC and FTC challenge with signups open through July 3rd. The game challenge released the same day, and until July 10th, you have to CAD your robot for the challenge. The game is called Green Generation, and we can't wait to see how this unfolds. I know personally when I was in high school, I would have loved to have been able to do a CAD challenge, but CAD wasn't as much of a thing back in my day. So also expected in late July is the return of the Valor CAD Challenge, which has been a top-tier FTC challenge. Look for more information soon on Fun social media or Discord server.
Last night, if you didn't see, by the way, if you missed it, the show Duff Takes a Cake was on. I know First was doing a lot of promotion for it. But Duff Takes a Cake, where they created a cake gonk droid. I didn't know the name of it was called Gonk, but apparently it is. By the way, this is partially filmed the LA North Regional. So if we're at the LA North Regional, I'm sure some of you got some NDAs to sign for those. But Duff created a fully wearable 120-pound gonk droid cake and a mini gonk droid cake to boot as well. He paraded the droid around the LA Regional, presented the gonk droid cake, which was consumed by several people at the event. We'll talk more about this later, but the cake slices were, when you got to feed a couple thousand people, they were a bit of a sliver. So I would have been a little disappointed. I would have wanted a little bit more out of that. But overall, really cool. The promo image of the episode, by the way, kind of showed a couple safety violations. So I was expecting there to be like a whole bunch of them during this, and actually it was pretty good. Like I didn't, usually a lot of times you see people kind of oblivious to either what first is or the safety rules. And overall, I actually thought they did a really good job on this. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, it looked really cool. Please go check it out. You can see it on Food Network on there through any DVR, and there might even be some YouTube clips somewhere as well too. So yeah, huge shout out to First for a job well done with Duff Takes the Cake and the Gonk droid, as it's called.
Wait, so the one that the guy's walking around wearing, that's a cake too?
Yeah, it has like a superstructure built in it, but it is actually a cake that you can eat. It's like, look at this. That's the big one. What? So look at the slivers though. Like, come on.
But that's just...
One of my coworkers, Liz, was the FTA at that regional, so I should ask her if she got any of the cake.
Oh my goodness! I was told I would get a piece this time, but this time I didn't. But if you watch Office Space, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, super super cool though. Like I said, it's to be honest with you, a lot of times these get done. The show obviously has this production cheesiness to it. Like, we can't fit the cake in the van. Oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. What are we going to do? Like, that's awful. But like the rest of it was really cool. I thought I thought First did a great job representing First. And I thought Food Network did a good job showing it off as well. So Chad, if you're watching live, let us know what you thought of the episode if you saw it as well too.
Yeah. And with that, moving on to our next headline, around in the streaming world, in what was a largely surprising announcement, Microsoft has announced they'll be shutting down their streaming platform Mixer after, I don't think it's been around that long, and will be moving existing partners and streamers over to Facebook Gaming. They've sort of just been unable to compete with Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Gaming, and Microsoft seems to be looking to salvage some semblance of the streaming market with this move. One of the most important takeaways from this in the streaming world, from what I was reading, is that sort of like these big mega stars that Microsoft paid a bunch of money to come move over to Mixer, like Ninja and Shroud, are now free agents.
They're going back to Twitch. There's no way they're not. So.
Yeah, but it was apparently they were offered a bunch of money to stick with Facebook Gaming, according to some reports. But they both declined out of it and will most likely be going back to Twitch. So. Just some interesting news in the streaming world. I mean, I think we're pretty set over here on Twitch. So.
For now, at least. So we love being a Twitch partner, and it's it'll be interesting to see how that shakes in the around. I actually do think Facebook Gaming has a chance. And a lot of people are like, well, a lot of the younger demographics isn't on Facebook anymore, and yes and no. There's plenty of people still on Facebook, and Facebook is really trying to separate gaming from their main ecosystem of things. So it could be interesting to see if somebody's got to challenge Twitch at some point. YouTube's starting to do a better job as well too with their join as well. When is Ninja going to play FRC Simulator, says Luke 20. Sometime soon. We'll reach out to him and get him to play with us.
Sure. Okay. All right, I believe we have one more headline coming from John.
Yeah, so the last headline, Dean Kamen launched basically a lab that will grow human body parts. Things like hearts, and I think I saw something about like the ACL and all sorts of other cool stuff. So the article was posted last week on Medium, and it features Dean discussing DECA's $80 million Department of Defense contract to manufacture replacement tissue and organs on demand. As a manufacturing person, this is wild tech. So the current organ transplant list is about 111,000 people. Yeah. the current Help Start Army, which is the Advanced Regenerative Manufacturing Institute, which includes 170 companies that now have given a total funding amount of $300 million.
Oh, we might have lost John on there, but I'll finish up there. But yeah, this organization currently has about 25 employees on there, and really go check out Medium's article. It's quite interesting to see what's been worked on. I remember them talking about the Luke arm a long time ago, and this is a continuation to that grant as well too. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this. And there's always the ethical questions of should we be growing human organs, that sort of thing. I'm personally on the side of yes, I think it's great to be able to do that, but I understand there are sometimes either ethical or religious concerns with that as well. But obviously Dean is looking to continue to make things big and keep helping society. So it'll be interesting to see if anything comes out of this, right? There's always things that look promising, and then you never know if it's going to be, the next game changer or game changer, get it? Or if it's not going to be that way. So it's, Dean's obviously doing cool stuff. Sometimes it's the Segway and sometimes it's Slingshot. Some things are super cool. Some things are not. You can decide which one out of that I mean.
Hey, Luke arm though. Luke arm is super cool.
Yeah.
Right? So.
No doubt. And that is going to be our headlines. Let's jump in to our next set of topics, and let's discuss that.
All right. So as Tyler mentioned at the top of the show in our first headline, the dreaded bill of materials or BOM is now gone. And in the blog post, it seemed to imply this might be a forever change. They're testing it out, but we'll see. They can always, walk that back later. Mm-hmm. As with any announcement First makes, this has led to a lot of discussion on our friendly neighborhood CD forums. So, what does this mean? Should they introduce some other method of controlling costs for teams? So I guess, what are some of your thoughts, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think this is a good change. I will say I would encourage teams to still create a bill of materials for things. I'm glad that there's not just because there's been so much just conflict behind how bill of materials is addressed at every single event. I've heard different stories from multiple different events, and the consistency just hasn't been there. So I think overall, I'm glad that First has listened to the concerns of many out there in the community of things. I think on Chief Delphi, we've seen overwhelmingly positive. I mean, you're always going to see some people who don't want it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's indicative of what the rest of the FRC community thinks on that. So I'd love to see more about that. But overall, yeah, I think a good change. I'm okay with them leaving the $500 cost thing in there. I'd rather see them change one thing at a time and kind of start to adjust from there. So to me, overall, I give it a big thumbs up and love to see what happens to it. John, what are your thoughts? Love to hear you on that.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty awesome. Like I said earlier, the BOM rules have just been going kind of wonkier and wonkier over the years. As someone that's been in First for a very, very long time at this point, I mean, there's just some things that are great about the BOM. It teaches a lot for young students in engineering about what things are like in industry, where you actually have to have a bill of materials for whatever you're making. But at the same point, there were ways of skirting the rules, and there were teams that would always do it. But having the $500 cap definitely is a good place to kind of find a happy balance for right now.
PJ, any final thoughts from you on this?
Yeah, like I said, I was since I wasn't involved for the last few years, and then this year was my first year sort of back on an actual team.
Yeah.
It was crazy to me what has changed in the ball materials. And I know part of what brought to my attention was I know Alan Gregory from Spectrum down in Texas has been doing a ton of sort of work advocating for some of the problems with the bill of materials. At least he's who I've seen do it the most. I've seen him on Facebook. I've seen him on Chief. I've seen him all over the place. And so, I mean, a huge shout out to him for sort of starting a lot of these kinds of discussions. And like I said, I didn't know a lot of this stuff before I would see threads that he posted in the comments people would say. So just, I'm a big fan of simplifying anything where it's like, I don't like loopholes. As a referee, I believe John would agree. Yes, like loopholes as a general rule are what cause us problems. So the fact that the bill of materials existed and was basically just built on loopholes in some ways was no bueno. So I think it is definitely going to be positive moving forward.
No doubt. All right, we're going to keep moving on to the next thing in chat. If you're watching live, we need your interaction with us, so please feel free to jump in. But we're going to be talking about some computer setups. There was a great thread in Chief Delphi asking people to post their computer setups for things, and I took some of them. There was many posted, so I didn't get to all of them, and because we'd be going on forever if that was the case. But I did take 18 of them, plus both PJ, John, and myself have submitted our own computer setups for you to rate as well. So here's how it's going to work. You're going to rate it 1 through 10 in chat. We love to see your reactions to that. We'll each time we'll each rate it. So 1 is going to be if it's a picture of a potato, it's a 1, just saying. But if it's a 10, that's like best setup you've ever seen. Oh my God, this is crazy. So chat, post in there, let us know, and we're going to take a look and jump into these. So our first one here is from Troy, who was on 330 at least. A couple things to point out about this. In the lower left, it looks like there's a NES supporting the monitor down there, and the open computer setup with the graphics card sticking out there. Ratings from you guys? Any thoughts as you look at this one?
I'm going to give it a 4 to 5. It's very.
We got to do whole numbers, integers only, please.
Ouch.
Those were whole numbers.
Well, okay. Pick one number.
Fine. I'll say a 4.
All right, 4.
Like, there's a lot going on, but it seems messy and cluttered.
All right, John.
Honestly, I'd give it about a 7.
All right.
Probably. Especially, I mean, look at that Rubik's Cube collection. It's amazing. So
I'm gonna go a 6. I love the NES in the lower left. So we'll keep going. Peyton here has apparently a 2 laptop setup that is hooked up to a very large monitor. With you notice on the left there's got that little gaming device. I forget what it's called. Allows you to have more hotkeys for things. So I'm gonna start out with this one. I'm gonna give this one a 4. We'll see a little more organization, and I'm confused why there's 2 laptops. John.
Peyton's a friend of mine, so I'm going to play nice on this one and give him a solid 6.
6, all right.
I'm actually kind of disappointed he doesn't have a 3D mouse on there. Like, Peyton does a lot with design and stuff, so that's surprising.
PJ?
I'll give it a 5. Once again, I'm confused by the multiple laptops. Also, for context to all our viewers at home, I don't know how computers work, so I'm just basing this on pure aesthetics.
All right, so that's a 15. Next one coming up is Kamden from 2771. Has a very clean setup with 4 monitors. Looks like they're pretty well meshed. Different sizes, though, on there. So, PJ, what are your thoughts on this one? And we do have quite a few, so we'll go kind of quick on these.
Yeah, I'm going to say like 7. It's very clean and pretty, and I like it.
All right. John?
Definitely a 7. That is a gorgeous monitor setup.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going an 8, but I agree. This is super cool from Kamden. Love it. Travis here doesn't show our full setup, but I wanted to check out his racing pedals on his and the very retro IBM keyboard that he's showing as well too. So I'm going to give this one I'll give this one a 5. I love the retro keyboard. I know we don't get to see the rest of the setup, and the stick shift looks pretty cool. John?
I give it a solid 4. To me, it's way too cluttered, but that being said, you should see my desk normally.
We'll get to see it in a little bit. BJ?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with a 4 as well. It's hard to see without the full setup. I do like the racing stuff, but 4. I'll say 4.
Garrett is next from Team 3200 with a couple 3D printers that he wanted to highlight, and a couple other printers as well too. So, John, what do you think about this one?
For the 3D printers alone, I have to give it an 8. I love printers. They're a soft spot for me right now. So,
PJ,
I'm gonna say 8 as well, or because it's clean with a lot of stuff happening, like everything, like that little top shelf where everything is all laid out and organized. I can appreciate that.
All right, I'm going to give it a 7. I do think it is a nice look. I do also dig Diet Dr. Pepper, which is on there, so I'll go for it. So, Jim from 1726 has posted a couple pictures on here, which looks like the old Tandy computer at the right there, and then a very open look. Oh, I just jumped ahead. And a very open look as well too. So, PJ, what do you give this one?
Open looks stress me out. I'm going to give it a 4.
All right, John?
I was going to go a 3 because I'm stressed out by that computer.
I'll go 4 on this one as well. It's total 11. Nat here from 2412 has a 3D printer. I confused what the bridge is in between on the monitor arm, but and a couple other things. So I'm going to give this one a 4 as well too. A little messy, though. Don't look at mine once we show that. But the bridge thing confuses me. How about you, John?
I give it a solid, probably 7 or 8. I mean, there's a couple of FRC game pieces in the bottom there. As someone that has design project parts chilling around my apartment still, it's probably what the bridge is. The guy with the printer. So
I'm gonna take your first number, by the way, in the future for these, so we'll give that a 7. PJ,
I'm gonna do a 6.
All right,
it's messy, but it's got a lot. Positives.
We'll keep going on here. Bailey from 195, very clean look. However, I'm not digging the chiclet keyboard personally, so I'm gonna give this one a 6. It is very clean, but it's I don't know. It looks so plain to me. PJ,
I'm gonna say a 6 because it's very clean and it looks like it probably does what it's supposed to do.
All right, John.
So Bailey's another good friend of mine.
Yeah, Bailey's a good friend of the show.
So I'm gonna give him a 10 because I mean that's a gorgeous, clean setup. So and that monitor is like amazing.
That's a 10 right there. All right, Nick from 3512 on here. A couple of monitors. I'm so confused why he has 3 headsets in his picture here.
That was my immediate thought.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give this a 5 just because I'm confused. Oh, sorry about that. I jumped way behind.
I'm going to give it a 4 because I don't understand it.
All right. John?
I'll give it a 5 as well, just because, again, why 3 headsets?
All right. This is Ari from 5987 out of Israel, who has helped do the fancy drafts that we've done here on Fun before, who has just... holy crap. I think in this post, I think he said he can watch like 13 streams at a time out of TBA. So just for that, I'm going to give it I mean, this is nuts. So I'm going to give it an 8. I think this is pretty epic.
Yeah, I would have to agree. This one's definitely a 10. I thought it was pretty bad when like 5 or 6 of us have TBA streams up at the Andy Mark offices during competition season. But I mean, we have a total of like that many streams. That's just insane.
PJ,
yeah, I'm gonna go with the 10 as well because it's clean. There's a lot. He has 3 mice down there chilling. Everything's wonderful.
All right, got the air horn for a couple 10s there. We'll keep moving around halfway through, a little bit over. Scott from 5895 showing a couple bookshelf speakers on there. I'll give it for creativity. I love that he's using that, and plus bonus cat in the bottom as well too. So I'm going to give it a 6.
I think this one's probably a 7 for me. It's nice and clean and well laid out. So
yeah, I think it's another international. I believe 5895 is from Norway, if memory serves.
I mean, if the flag's correct on the screen.
That would explain the flag, but yeah. but I just mean I think that. But anyway, so I'm going to give it a 6.
All right, very good. Here's Forrest from 2370, who I thought just had like ridiculous, like weird monitor backgrounds, but just blurred what was on the monitor. But man, there is a lot of electronics that I don't understand on here. It is very overwhelming to me, but looks pretty cool at the same time. So I'm going to give it a 7. John, well, let's keep going this order.
Yeah, no, I give it an 8. I mean, they're definitely well organized, even though there's a lot of chaos, and that camera that's in the center there looks really nice. So.
Got a nice microphone too.
I am scared but intrigued, so I'll give it a 9.
Wow. All right. 7, 8, 9. Peyton from 125 posts his design his setup on here. The nice tower that looks pretty clean and a couple monitors. Overall, I like this. Plus sticky notes for the organization on there. So I'm going to give this an 8.
Definitely an 8 for me too.
I could stick with an 8. 8 sounds fair.
8 sounds fair. All right, Trevor, we're winding on down. Trevor from 6502, showing to me, I call this a standard office setup. You have a laptop on a stand with 2 monitors attached to it, but a very nice clean setup, so I'm going to give this a 7.
I give it a solid 8. Very clean, very, like you said, office professional looking, so.
Yeah, I could say 7.
All right, winding on down. Nick from 2220. Lots of stuff going on here with the 3D printer. By the way, I noticed a lot of people have the Blue Yeti microphone, which is what I use as well too. But I'm just like, why aren't more of these people streaming and stuff like that? Though Nick has done plenty of voiceover and audio stuff for First, or doing stuff for First, as with the Snow Problem RE3D stuff. So I'm a little messy, but I'm gonna give it a 7. I still like the setup overall.
I give it a solid 8. There's a lot going on, but again, 3D printer, so.
I'm gonna go 6.
All right.
It's a little too overwhelming.
Well, if you want something clean, how about I'm going to butcher this, Aryan from 840, who has a, look at that case on there, clear on case, but it looks open as well too, because he's got the headphones hanging there. But just a nice clean monitor setup. Overall, I like it. Once again, with the Blue Yeti microphone, I'm going to give this one a 9. I really like this one.
I'd definitely give it a 9 as well. That monitor looks nice and crisp. It looks like there's cableway or something doing all the wire routing in the background, and that case is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 10. I like
10. All right, 10 gets the air horn. Speaking about clean aesthetics as well, too, how about a couple more with bookshelf speakers? James from 5254. I would give this a 10. I'm only going to dock them for one thing. I don't get why people put, like, their boxes on, like, display up there. So I'm going to, give me that docks a point. That's too much of a humble brag for me, so I'm going to give it a 9.
Definitely a 9 for me too. It's nice and clean and a gorgeous setup. I love that desktop too. Looks like a nice maple or oak or something like that. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the 9 for the same reason Tyler said. I don't get the boxes.
All right, we got one left before we take a look at ours on here. So Connor from the C Mick Bridal, I forget the name on Twitch, but but look at this setup here. With even got the vertical monitor action going on, so hopefully he's got the IPS for that. But four total monitors. Looks like a TV and 2 other monitors with some Christmas lights in the background. I love Connor. I'm giving this a solid 9. This looks awesome. I love it.
I give it an 8. It's a little too dark for my taste, but I don't like being in a dark room staring at monitors.
I'm going to give it an 8 because it's dark, so what are you hiding, Connor?
All right, we're going to go into our final ones. We got PJ here. PJ, you want to describe your setup as we go through?
I have a laptop and a mouse, and that's how I live my life.
John, what do you get PJ set up here?
I'm giving myself a 1, by the way.
All right, we got a 1 for PJ.
I was going to say, I'm sorry, PJ, but it's a 1 for me, too.
I'll give you a 2, PJ, just to bring it up.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it works for me. I run everything off of one laptop.
Also, I think that may have been the event where we met for the first time, PJ.
It's not, because that's a year. I was thinking about it, too. It's later that same year.
Nice. So John here has the old school trophy collector, as I called it, because he looks like got a couple of the old First trophies in the background. Tell us about your setup here, John.
So I have a Surface Pro because that's all I really need for what I do at home. My ancient TV that was my dorm TV back in the day. A bunch of just kind of fun odds and ends, some Lego stuff that I have going on, like currently in the middle of the Porg Lego set. And then, the trophy in the background, we have a 2005 regional winner trophy.
There you go.
That was my senior year, and then
So, sorry, we got a quick cut here. That's a regional trophy, by the way.
yeah, yeah.
That's bigger than what championship trophies are nowadays.
Actually, yes, it is. It is larger than a championship trophy. Which back then, the only difference between the regional and the championship one was like another base layer. And then it's the Industrial Design Award from the same regional next to that. And then the 2010 IRI trophy that I think I just got because I offered to bring all the trophies for the silent auction a couple of years ago.
Why not?
So they're like, here, just take this one with you when we were cleaning out the Andy Mark office.
So John, what are you giving yourself here?
I mean, compared to some of the other setups, probably a 3 at
All right.
most.
PJ?
I'm going to give it a 6 because it's fun.
Ooh.
Oh, thanks, PJ.
There's a lot of fun things happening, and it's also clean.
I'm going to go 4 and disagree with you. There's messy Legos all by that calipers, all by the caliper down there. So. All right, we do have we have one more, and then I just got sent a bonus one. So this is mine that I have. I took this a few months ago during our COVID show. Very messy. I know that I am. Lots of cords on the ground, and a mishmash of monitors. I literally just keep adding more stuff over time, and nice bright light boxes in my eyes. With if you don't know what the thing is right below the microphone, that's called the Stream Deck. It allows us to press buttons and macro them to what's on screen. I'm going to give myself. I'm going to give myself a 7. I think a 7's fair. I think it's a neat setup, but there's a lot of things that could be organized better.
I mean, since you bashed the two of us, I'm going with like a 3 on this one. It's such a mess.
I could say a 5. I think it's comparable to some of the other 5s I gave earlier in the show.
That's fair.
All right, fair enough.
But my scale has wildly changed throughout the show.
Yeah. We do have a bonus one here, by the way, from Tegan, who just sent this in. No description at all, but this is Tegan set up on here. She says the only description is that my setup wins the entire show. So, I mean, I'll give it a solid. I'll give it a solid 5 just for the background image.
I don't like that it's looking into my soul.
All right, so what is soul looking rate for you?
I'm going to
PJ?
give it a 2 because I'm scared.
John?
I'm with PJ. The background's great and all, but to me it's very PJ in setup, so I'm going to give it a 2.
All right, so we have a quick tie. Well, I don't know why that just got really big. That was creepy. Sorry, PJ. Yeah, I didn't mean to give you the nightmares there. All right, so we do have a tie that we have to decide between real quick between Ari's 5987, who had the huge monitor setup, and 16, which was Aryan's at 840. So chat, we're going to let you vote. Let us know which one you like better. Did you like the simple setup from 840, or do you like the very complex setup from 5987? And we'll keep moving on with the show, but let us know which one you felt was the winner, and we'll circle back onto that. PJ?
Yes. All right. So now let's, I mean, he's been talking the whole time, but the reason he's on tonight, let's bring John on to talk to some, sorry, this sentence was not what I meant to say. So anyway, tonight he's here to discuss some ways to help build inclusion on your teams and just talk about the Rainbow STEM Alliance in general. So John, if you want to go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, so little bit about myself. My name's John Kentfield. I currently am employed by Andy Mark as the manufacturing manager. I've been in FIRST since 2000 as a first LEGO League student, and then started on FRC 173 in 2002. And then I've been involved ever since. So it's been a long, wild ride, but it's been a ton of fun. And so a few years ago, I was fortunate enough to have a admin for the LGBTQ plus of FIRST student group working for me at Andy Mark. And so we started the LGBTQ plus of FIRST pin campaign, which is this little lapel pin that you see right here. And so that was kind of just a way to promote the LGBTQ plus of FIRST student group and kind of promote inclusivity and diversity in FIRST. and kind of give students a way of knowing that there are a lot of volunteers and mentors and their fellow students who support them. You'll notice that they don't say ally or anything else like that, and it's for that reason. We don't want people to have to out themselves or anything like that, and we want to foster inclusivity. And so for anyone that's part of a minority group, be it women in STEM or LGBTQ people, Black people, other people of color, things like that, having the ability to see yourself in role models is important. And so that's kind of one of the reasons that the RSA was founded, was not only to be able to continue to get donations and things like that to continue LGBTQ plus the first pins, but kind of just give an opportunity for students to realize that there are other people like them involved in the community and the program. And so I myself, as a head referee, am in a very visible role as a out gay man. And so it's kind of important for me to be able to show students that, yes, this is normal. Yes, this is okay. You have allies in the community. And so that's kind of why it's important. But you'll also notice on this side, I am wearing what Tyler has up on the screen now, which is one of the LGBTQ plus pronoun pins. And so we started doing pronoun ribbons at the championship events probably 4 or 5 years ago now. And a good friend of mine, Renee Becker-Blau, and her family and myself kind of started this before the RSA started. And so we were able to use the RSA's platform to grow the pronoun ribbon campaign. And now we've started with these pronoun pins. And the cool thing with the pins is anyone can have them at any event at any time. And you don't need to be at championship. You don't need a name badge or something like that to be able to wear one. And the thing with pronouns and why pronouns are so important, and you hear so much about them these days, is it means a lot for a person who does not identify as they present, possibly, or who's non-binary or trans or anything, to have people use the proper pronouns. If you misgender someone, it's kind of like saying you don't care about them. It is probably the easiest way for me as a cis person to explain that. And I use the term cis, which means I identify as the gender that I was assigned at birth. So I identify as a male. And so that's kind of an important thing for people to understand the terms as well. And so these are things that the RSA are working on, things that the LGBTQ plus of FIRST student group are working on, but also FIRST as a whole. Their diversity and equity training is fantastic. Shelly Henderson did an amazing job while she was the head of that program there. And they've done some great work with their training, which they linked in the recent Black Lives Matter blog posts. So those are great resources for you to be able to access and learn about. But as the RSA and as kind of the adult group, our big thing is we want to be able to provide resources for mentors and things like that in the future. One of the things that I get asked the most often at events especially is, we have a student who is gay or is trans or is non-binary, and we don't know what to do with them in housing. And this is kind of a complex and broad topic, because every group and school board and everything else all kind of has their own policies a lot of the time. And so that's one of the things that we try working on, is we're working with FIRST to create a housing policy that we hope to have done sometime in the near future. So keep an eye out for that. But it will basically allow teams to go to their school board and be like, here's a policy that was written by professionals that know what they're talking about, that we would like to adopt for our team, and kind of give some basic guidelines and things like that that teams can utilize and have resources for.
That's fantastic, John, by the way. I think that's really cool to be able to go in and say, hey, this is a vetted organization that has done their homework on this stuff. They truly do care about what's going on. Let's implement something like this, especially, as you mentioned, there's many school districts who, probably don't have a robust policy for what something like this is.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that we want to do. We don't want to say this has to be your policy because we know that there's a lot to fight in that regard. But if you're in a position where the school doesn't have a policy at that point, it's a great jumping off point is what we're going for there. And on top of all of that, based on some of the grants and things that we've gotten over the past year with the Love Loud organization, Love Loud Foundation, which was started by Dan Reynolds of Imagine Dragons, we were able to provide a scholarship this year. And so we have 2 $500 scholarships available to first alumni or recent graduates, class of 2020. And while the application process is closed, we have determined our winners and are currently actively trying to figure out our next steps on what that means for them and how to proceed with that.
In future years, if this was offered, where could they find information about this?
Yeah, so the first scholarship is done through the First Scholarship portal. So firstinspires.org/scholarships, I believe. Michelle Long is a good friend of mine, and she'll probably not be happy with me if I screwed that up. But apply.
The link is right, by the way. I just looked it up. So, awesome. Yep, you got it. Kudos from Michelle virtually already.
It's kind of gotten ingrained. So yeah, there's still a bunch of first scholarships available. I know beyond just ours. So definitely, if you're in high school or even an alumni, go take a look at it because there are scholarships like ours that are open to alum. So you don't necessarily have to still be in high school to apply for one. So yeah, that's kind of some of the stuff that we have going on in the background on our end. We're looking to expand and do new things. And if people are interested in joining our organization, the rainbowstemalliance.org is our website URL. And then they can go into, I forget which page it is, but there's a page to sign up as a member. And we'll get them into our Slack and go from there. So, yeah, that page.
Yeah. John, something I want to just bring up is that I know a couple of years ago I got to, you invited me to come down to the meetup that you guys had at Championships. Yes. And that was a really, to me, a very, just an amazing thing to be able to see just like so many people just come together, regardless if you, how you identify or whatever, just people who want to help support and people who want to, make the area a safe place and inclusive place for all. And that was just kudos to you and everybody else who organized that because it was just a place of joy, a place of happiness, a place that people could feel safe and comfortable. And I think that's such a great thing that you helped do for the community.
And so one of the awesome things with that is that space is provided to us by First, free of charge. They are completely willing to work with us on it. It's one of those things that we don't want to actively promote it in like the program because we don't want to necessarily broadcast it in case that brings some other issues that we don't want to have to worry about. But Michelle Long and the entire First staff are fantastic and have been very gracious and getting us a space every year for the past, I think, 3 or 4 years now. We've had a space at the championship every year. So it's been pretty awesome. Last year, I think it was last year, Frank came and stopped by. And one of my favorite images of Woody was him at the 2017 kickoff wearing the LGBTQ of first pin. And I'd had conversations with him after that over the years because I've been fortunate enough to be able to have a one-on-one conversation with Woody. And he always told me that towards the end, there were 2 pins that he was always willing to wear and put on because they weren't team affiliated. The first was the LGBTQ of first pin, and the second was his Woody Flowers Award pen when they started making those. And so that to me was huge and indicative of the first organization as a whole being supportive of what we're doing. So
absolutely. I want to just read off a couple comments from chat in regards to this. Comment from, great name, Secret Agent 42 says, I'm really glad that you guys are working on a housing policy. Our school has no policy, but our head mentor just decided to have trans students room with their assigned gender at birth, and lacking much in the way of actual resources could have influenced that decision. So, so just giving you some props and kudos for that.
And honestly, that's one of the things that we hear the most is it's either that or they're forced into rooming by themselves and kind of treated as an other, which
definitely
isn't
is not
the
what
way
you
it
want.
should be.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the things that we're working on with the policy is trying to promote the inclusivity and help these students grow as they get older. So.
Just want to, I know it kind of got answered in chat, but actually, PJ, this might be something you might be able to chime in on too. From TD Canoba says, just out of curiosity, does FIRST have a program for people with mental issues, say people on the spectrum, or that sort of mental illness is what they corrected as well?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I have a master's degree in clinical counseling with a focus on youth and adolescent therapy. So this is kind of my bread and butter. So one thing, I see Audrey linked a community in chat, and another great resource I've seen Christine in chat, don't know if she's currently watching, is the Here For You stuff the Compass Alliance does. I know Christine's very involved with that. I also, at Champs, I also give a presentation on on inclusivity and including people with who are non-neurotypical and including them in your team. And it's very similar when it comes down to a lot of the things John was saying. It's just, I sort of boil it down, like my three big words are listening, respect, and confidentiality. So, listening, you're letting people know that, like, I do this sort of from a mentor perspective, but letting students know they can come to you. You aren't there to give advice. Respect, you don't judge these students coming to you to help. Avoid talking down to them. And confidentiality, students should know that what you tell will remain between the two of you, with the exception of if you think there's some sort of immediate threat to themselves. So those are just kind of my big three words. Like I said, mine are tailored more to mental illness, but they all seem to apply to what John's been saying as well.
Very much so. And I appreciate you bringing that up, PJ, because those three things are three things that students in FIRST that are LGBTQ are trying to cope with on top of it. So suicide risk is something very large in the LGBTQ youth community. And so they will go to a mentor and come out to a mentor kind of as a trial run sometimes, because mentors are very much parental figures to a lot of these kids. And so that being able to be there and to listen and to not judge and not go and tell the students' parents unless they're required to by schools, because there are school systems that do that. But those things are huge and make all the difference in the world in these students' lives. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And John, we really appreciate it, you taking the time to speak about this. If I know there might be a couple extra questions in chat that we can't field right now, but how could somebody get a hold of you, or is there a good Discord to send them to, or anywhere that they might be able to communicate with you?
Yeah, so I am pretty active in the LGBTQ plus FIRST Discord. And so there's that Discord. That's a great resource for students, especially. If they have any questions for me, the best email to get a hold of the RSA is directors@therainbowstemalliance.org. And that'll go to all of us that are in a director level position within the org. But it's kind of like our info kind of contact us email. And so that way that's one of the best ways to get a hold of us as an organization as well. So.
Awesome, John. Thank you so much for taking time to speak about this. We're going to keep moving on as we have a couple more things to cover before we wrap up tonight. By the way, if you're interested, if you're watching live and interested in playing Tank for Fun Trivia, we're going to open that up. Go ahead and join our Discord and join the call-in channel queue And John, we might have an extra special prize for them. Is that potential?
Yeah, that's totally a potential.
All right, so putting John on the spot here a little bit. So so be joining. You are the caller that we choose. We'll have an extra special prize regardless if you win or not. But Take for Fun Jackpot is at $80 right now, and it keeps moving up. So you get to play John in trivia. We'll be doing that in just a moment. So we're going to move on to our community spotlights on here. So community spotlight. Our first one was sent to us from our friends at FRC 810, the Mechanical Bulls. Lots of teams are doing things for PPE out there, but they sent us this recently and wanted to highlight some of the cool stuff that they're doing out there. But 810 has jumped into action to provide medical suppliers medical supplies for their community and surrounding areas. They mass-produce face shields, including donating over 2,500 pieces of equipment. They've fundraised across their town to provide hospital staff meals. And this is what I really wanted to highlight, is that a lot of people are doing PPE, but if you watched our COVID show that we did, we really talked about how there's just cool stuff you can do to support your community you don't have to make PPE. You can just send a nurse a meal if they are, make sure they're okay with it. But things like that can go a really long way for doing things. So shout out to FRC 810 and all our teams who have been stepping up to this challenge. And we have one other community spotlight here, PJ.
Oh, yes. Posted in the First Robotics Facebook group. Oh, that is a name. Jean Gaspard de Bordeaux, a self-proclaimed famous Lego robotic creator from France, posted this awesome grass-seeding robot utilizing the Lego Mindstorm's EV3 platform. This robot, sporting mechanism wheels, measures the density of the lawn and counts the number of holes. So when a hole is detected in the lawn, the robot scarifies the hole.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Okay, I was trying to figure out if it was a typo or not.
Yeah.
The robot scarifies the hole and sows seeds into the lawn. It's pretty cool stuff being created out in the community. Just shows how versatile. I never do, like, the things people do with these Lego Mindstorm systems blows my mind sometimes.
John, how do you feel about PJ's pronunciation of
it's not correct. It is Mecanum wheel.
I thought you were talking about the name. I was like, I thought I'd been okay at the name.
No. It is Mecanum wheel. That as someone that grew up in New England where it was always Mecanum, when I moved out to Indiana, I was very quickly corrected that it's Mecanum, and there is no H. That probably drives me nuts more than anything. Mecanum does not have an H. Please stop using one.
That's fair.
All right,
Michigan has the same New England problem, I guess, because most people call them Mecanum up here.
There you go. You got to work on that positioning there a little bit, John. So, all right, with that said, we're going to be starting our Take from Fun trivia. Once again, if you're interested in joining, now's the time. Call in Channel Q is where you're going to hop in for that. For your chance to win $80, and you're going to play against John for the trivia. So we're going to explain the rules while we have callers populating. We only have 8 spots available for it, and we'll pick one out of that. So you're going to get 5 questions. John doesn't know the questions either, so we tend to make him fun. We tend to give one that might be a little related to what he does, because if he gets it wrong, we can give him extra special props for getting it wrong. or his fellow employees or coworkers can hassle him for that a little bit. But 5 questions, once again, you're going to go through and answer each one. We're going to take the first answer that you give. You can pass, and we'll come back to it. But if you pass again, then that's going to be it as we go through. Tiebreaker's time, so you got to make sure you're going fast on this as well too. So we're going to have our caller do it first, and then we're going to go and have John do the same answer. So we're going to ask that John takes off his headphones. We'll give him a big wave once we're ready to have him come back. So we'll bring in our caller and let that go. And we're going to bring on caller number 4. Caller number 4 is Red Panda. Red Panda, are you there? See if they unmute. If not, we'll bring another caller in.
Hello?
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
Good. What's your name? What team are you with?
My name's Bob. I'm from Team 6179.
All right, Bob, are you ready to play some Take from Fun trivia?
Yeah.
All right. Do you know all the rules? 5 questions. You got to answer them as quick as you can. You got it?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go ahead and get that started. John has his headphones off once again. And your time begins in 3, 2, 1. All right, so which Michigan team has the most blue banners in FRC history?
2767.
What was the name of the 2011 FRC game?
It passed.
We'll come back to that, no worries. In what year was AnyMark founded?
2000.
Well, how many laws are there in Isaac Asimov's Law of Robotics?
Pass.
Talked about on the show earlier, no individual non-KLP item or software shall have a fair market value that exceeds what value in FRC?
500.
And we'll come back to your questions. What was the name of the 2011 FRC game?
Locomotive.
Can you say it one more time?
Locomotion.
All right. And how many laws are there in Isaac Asimov's Laws of Robotics?
3 laws.
All right. In time. Ooh, we seemed to know those right away when we came back. You weren't cheating, were you?
No.
No, he laughs beforehand. We'll see about that. We'll give John a big wave. Have him put his headphones back on here. How'd you feel you did?
Good.
Good. All right. Let's give John a wave. Come on, John. There we go. All right. We're going to, no worries, Red Panda. We're going to put you on hold here for a second. And John, 5 questions once again. Our caller thought he did all right. So we'll see how you do here. No pressure at all. But it is for $80. John, are you ready?
Sure.
All right, your time begins in 3, 2, 1. Which Michigan team has the most blue banners in FRC history?
67.
What was the name of the 2011 FRC game?
Locomotion.
In what year was AnyMark founded?
2004.
How many laws are there in Isaac Asimov's Law of Robotics?
3.
And we talked about this earlier in the show. No individual non-KLP item or software shall have a fair market value that exceeds what value?
500.
In time.
US dollars.
Yeah, we got you.
Wow. He had
All
the
right.
US dollars.
We'll go through these
Hey.
and see how we did.
Canadian or Australian. It causes issues, man.
All right, we'll go through these each one individually, and we'll bring back our caller on here. So once again, which Michigan team has the most blue banners in FRC history? Our caller said 2767, and John said 67. The answer is 67, 1-0. Next
I actually
one.
just looked this up at work. Like,
Did you really? Rigged emotes in chat, everybody. So,
It throws you off when I saw the question because like the chairman's throws me off because I'm like, how many chairmans did Rush win?
Yeah, I was debating between 27 and 67. That's what the hesitation was.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, so what was the name of the 2011 FRC game? Our caller Pass came back, said Locomotion. John said Locomotion. Locomotion is correct. It is 2-1. In what year was AnyMark founded? Caller said 2000. John said 2004. John, you got it correct. All right, good. So 3-1. How many laws are there in Isaac Asimov's Laws of Robotics? Both said 3. That is correct. 4-2. And talked about earlier in the show, no individual non-KLP item or software shall have a fair market value exceeds $500. Both are correct, but 5-3. John, a clean sweep. And unfortunately, that means that we're going to keep going on to $80 or $90 on Tuesday. Thanks for playing. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right, so that is going to wrap up our show for this evening. So $90 is going to be on Thursday if you watch our FTC show. Otherwise, if it comes back around the next Tuesday, we'll be at either 100 or 10. Depends if they win on FTC or not. So yeah, chat, let us know how many you got correct as you went through. But a couple last things to go through on here. Want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. John, thank you so much for coming on to share your experience and talk about the Rainbow STEM Alliance. Anything else you want to talk about before we let you go here?
Not really. One of the best ways, if you're looking for more information for RSA, is the rainbowstemalliance.org. LGBTQ of First has LGBTQ of First.org. They also have their Discord, and if you're looking to support us, you can purchase an LGBTQ plus of First pin through AndyMark. And yeah, that's about it.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry to interrupt. I totally forget. Person who called in, please shoot me a DM because we do have a special prize for you for playing anyways. So, which is what, John?
They will get an LGBTQ plus of first pin sent to them.
Awesome.
And let us know which pronoun you would prefer, and you will be the first person to, besides me, to get one of the new pronoun pins.
What?
So.
That's worth an air horn right there. So awesome. So yeah. So please shoot me a DM. I would appreciate that. I'm sorry I forgot to mention that as well. PJ, thanks again for a great co-host. And what's going on with you, man?
Not much, just living the dream, getting ready. We're amping back up now that schools are opening again, so I'm getting back in. Hopefully, we're gonna start doing some more robot stuff back with my kids soon. So I've missed them. So
all right, for
Yay,
sure,
robots.
man. Yeah, right, at some point. So thank you to everybody who helps support the stream with all your bits and subscriptions. Definitely appreciate it. If you're watching offline, you can help support us at patreon.com/firstupdatesnow, or you can go to Twitch. You can still help support us even if you're not watching live, twitch.tv/firstupdatesnow. Don't forget to check out our Discord as well, too, discord.gg/firstupdatesnow. Stay up to date on all things happening here on Fun, including FRC and FTC content. You can check us out once again, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, pretty much most of the platforms except for TikTok. Sorry, Audrey, not yet on that. So, but please go ahead and check us out under First Updates Now and Fun FTC. Next show coming up on Thursday, once again, we'll be covering on FTC Live the teaser for next FTC season. Otherwise, we'll see you here next week on FRC Recap. With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Talk to you then. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you want more fun content, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Thanks to all of our co-executive producers on Patreon and Tier 2 Plus subscribers on Twitch, keeping fun loud, live, and independent.